When the surgeons broke the news to us that she was terminally ill and that they thought she'd only got 2.5 months at best, that seemed a frighteningly short space of time. Looking back at the end of the 4.5 months that she lived, that seemed an eternity. Now I feel that I did all that was within my power to do, so that the 4.5 months actually allowed me the time to plan some things, to certainly discuss some things. She and I would have quite close, intimate discussions, and they might only last 2 minutes because of her mental state. But in those short times, we certainly conveyed all sorts of intimate comments and conversations. I suppose, in a way, we were able to say goodbye.
We realised that these are just sacred moments to spend with her, even though she physically has changed and how she looks and her features may not be exactly the same as how she used to. None of the feelings have changed for how we care for her.
We went to a restaurant some time ago, and one of the waiters said, "Oh, what's happened to you? Your face has gone so round." And it's like somebody had just slapped her in the face. She just wanted to burst out crying. And yet to us, we thought, well, she's not any different. But obviously to somebody who hadn't seen her, they could see big changes in her.
So we compliment her in any ways we can. We go, "Oh, wow, I love your hair, it's so curly," because it has gone so curly after chemo. It's grown back so different, and we just love it, and we just tell her that. And you always see a smile come, don't you, when you tell her things like that? And we try to do that as much as we can, because we know that it helps her, and it helps us as well.
Oh, that's lovely, Danny. That's great.
High five!
High five!
There was one occasion in the bathroom, and I said to him, "This radiator's gone cold on the top." He said, "Well, you better learn to bleed it then." I said, "How do I do that?" So he said, "Take that key off the hook behind the door and put it in the top of the radiator." So I did just that. I managed to shoot water all over the bathroom floor, but the heat came back in the radiator, so he taught me that. And he kept saying, "Is there anything else I can teach you?" And we couldn't think of anything, but I'm still finding out other things I should have asked him, but haven't.
In that period when my dad was gradually declining and we knew that he would die within a few weeks or months, you do feel in a complete limbo, because although you know it will finish, you also think it will go on forever. You can't imagine that actually you will get to that point where he would die. And so I think it would be easy to just put off and think, well, I'll talk to him about that next week, or leave that till next month, because you just cannot comprehend that you will get to the point where that won't be possible. He will die. And so I think that makes it even more important to be reminded in that period to have that conversation, that thought in the back of your mind, to share that with him. I'm so glad that I did. All sorts of odd little conversations.
One occasion, when I didn't have strawberries and ice cream on my birthday, was when I was in the army.
So you had strawberries and ice cream from when you were that young? Sometimes you hear people say, I only wish I'd said that. But I don't feel that. I feel that, I talked with him about everything that I would have wanted to, really. Which now makes it much easier, although it's really hard to cope. It is much easier to cope with, because I know that I did talk to him and I didn't miss that opportunity to do that.
Luckily, we managed to get into the hospice, and he had a blood transfusion that day and stabilised, and had a bit of a weak weekend. And Monday, they decided that Tuesday morning he could probably come home. However, he started to become unconscious and just knew less and less what was happening. And he passed away on Tuesday morning just after midnight. It was just so quick. He was there okay on the Wednesday, and then by the Tuesday he'd gone. And this was September, nowhere near the new year that we'd expected. You can't say what's right. You can't say whether it was good that somebody went quickly or good that they went slowly. It might have been good for him because he had less pain and suffering. However, it's made more pain and suffering for me because I didn't really say goodbye. That is one of my biggest things. He never said goodbye to me. I said goodbye to him, but I don't know if he heard.
How much are you going to miss Claire, your mum?
That's a question that's impossible to answer. You will never not miss her. She's my best friend. She's my mum. I've loved her. She's the one I hug all the time and closest to me when I'm sad and looks after me. And I don't know how I'll react when she has passed away. I don't know how I'll act 10 years after, but I will miss her.
Everything I've ever done in my married life has been for my wife, and not to have her there it's going to take a lot of adjusting, which I can't even contemplate at the moment yet. But I don't know. You need to ask me in a few years' time, hopefully, and see if we've changed in any way. At the moment, it's something I can't even contemplate, is how it's going to impact upon me. It's just going to be like somebody cutting all my limbs off, I think. It's my support will be gone. Alright?
Yeah.